One of the countries on the front lines of Europe's refugee crisis is Hungary. And joining us now from Budapest is Zoltan Kovacs. He is the international spokesperson for the Office of Hungary's Prime Minister. Welcome to the show, sir.
Hello.
Let me ask you firstly, how big a challenge is this migrant crisis posing for your country?
Well, just to give you some kind of comparison, until 2012, a normal year, the yearly number of illegal migrants coming through Hungary and to Hungary was somewhere around 3,000 to 5,000. Only this year we have experienced 170,000 illegal migrants so far. So numbers are skyrocketing. There's an exponential growth in the number, and obviously it means lots of pressure on the institutional system and also on the capabilities of the Hungarian state to defend its own borders.
These are refugees fleeing from areas of war, from economic hardship, from poverty. Why is Hungary opposed to settling them in the country?
The question is even more complicated because most of these people arriving to Hungary, or rather through Hungary to the European Union, would like to go to the western part of Europe, that is the wealthier part of the European Union. So for them, Hungary is only a transit country rather than the target itself. We have been receiving migrant refugees from war zones for the past couple of years. There's a yearly couple of hundred of them who specifically would like to come to Hungary. So Hungary is receiving migrants and refugees. The real problem is that most of these people, 170,000 people, let alone this year, would like to reach most of all Germany. So honestly, they won't like to stay in Hungary. Hungary is just suffering the consequences of a mass migration on an unprecedented level.
Right. The thing is that there has been some scathing criticism of Hungary's response to this crisis. The Guardian newspaper, for one, says that the Hungarian response will stain the country's human rights record and its reputation. What do you make of that?
Well, obviously, facing those charges is not very nice, especially that Hungary is taking basically the biggest burden of dealing with illegal migrants and refugees at the moment. This very number, 170,000 people, is higher than in Italy and Greece. Now, the problem is that Hungary is trying to cope with this. Obviously, you can portray it as a humanitarian issue, but we keep on telling, and that's probably the biggest problem actually for some opinion makers in Western Europe, and especially for journalists, we keep on telling that this is a security issue. So Europe should be regaining its ability to control its borders. Otherwise, the humanitarian crisis we are facing is just going to grow.
Right, and one of the steps you have taken to secure your country is you building a fence along the border with Serbia to stop the flow of refugees. What other steps are you taking?
Well, building a fence was basically an unavoidable step because there is no other tool at the hands of the government to stop illegal migration. What we would like to achieve is that we stop the or rather flood of illegal migrants through the green borders, the natural borders of the country, and re-establish the capability to channel them, to handle them at the official border crossing points. So that's why we build a fence, and that's step number one. We have also reinforced police forces in the area, and if Parliament votes so the upcoming days and weeks, we would be able to deploy, obviously within the confines of law and legality, army to protect the border. And we are also introducing a new legal environment, which is trying to step up against human smuggling in a draconian manner. And also it's going to make illegal border crossing a crime. That's unavoidable. Again, we have to reestablish our control over the borders, that is law and order, to be able to handle the situation.
The Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orbán is blaming Germany for this crisis, according to a report in the Wall Street Journal. How is Germany at fault here?
As in your first question, I've already indicated, one major problem is that from Western Europe, open invitations are going out for those on the route. That is, hundreds of thousands, or rather millions, are targeting Europe at the moment, from Northern Africa, from Black Africa, and also from the war-torn Near East, heading towards the healthier and wealthier western part of the European Union. if those invitations from opinion makers and from politicians keep on going out, that we will receive everybody from Syria, that we will receive even more migrants, that obviously is not going to change the tendency, and that is everybody on the route would like to reach Europe because once they're in, they would like to utilize the beneficial circumstances, the social welfare system, also the labor market of the European Union. What we need to establish, and that's what we keep on telling for the past couple of months, is discipline in this whole procedure. If some European countries are in need of workforce, that should be also done in a regular manner.
Well, you say there are open invitations, but what should Europe be doing? I mean, Germany has already said that it will take in hundreds of thousands of refugees. There is now talk of a quota system as well. What is your solution to this?
There is only one solution to this whole situation, and that is an all-European solution. Hungary is not able to solve this problem, obviously. What we believe should be done is that, and that's the first step before a proper question and proper answers can be raised, to regain the capability of the European Union to protect its own borders, to put back discipline on the ground, including Italy, Greece, Hungary, any other country in the European Union. Otherwise, even receiving refugees, not to talk about economic migrants, would basically be impossible to implement. That's why we think that the quota is a bad idea. The quota is always going to go behind events. The quota is an invitation, an open invitation, that there is a quota which can always be changed. So if the quota is 50,000, it could be raised to 150, then to 500,000, and then to 1 million. And obviously that contributes to the so-called pull factor. That, again, is an invitation to come, because there's going to be a solution. We believe any kind of invitation, any kind of distribution is only possible after re-establishing controls of the borders.
Now, the Hungarian Prime Minister, Viktor Orbán, has called many of the migrants, and many of them are Muslim, a threat to Europe's Christian identity. According to the Guardian newspaper, again, he said he is defending European Christianity against a Muslim influx. Is there not an element of Islamophobia in that comment?
No, because what we mean by that is not against Islam and those Muslims who would like to come to Europe. We obviously accept that some Western European countries have already decided to live with a larger portion of Muslim people on their soil to establish or re-establish a different kind of society. But we would like to maintain our sovereignty and our will in doing so or not doing so. And what we believe is the fundamental and essential part of Europe's identity is its Christianity, if not in terms of religion, but in terms of culture. So the obvious cultural and religious differences and the obvious differences in lifestyle, in perception of values is one issue you also have to address. These are very straightforward words and ideas, but to be able to put the right questions and to be able to provide the right answers, you have to speak in a very honest manner.
What about internal politics in Hungary? The far-right Jobbik party is staging protests against the migrants. Do you think there will be a backlash against the migrants from the far right, not just in Hungary, but in other countries in Europe as well?
Very honestly, we don't mind what Jobbik and far right is thinking about these terms. The sheer number of those arriving on a daily basis, the sheer number on a yearly basis, and the very nature of the problem itself is the responsibility of the government. So we don't have to listen to any political party, especially to the far right, but we have to listen to our hearts and to our minds to be able to handle that situation. And that is the responsibility of a given government, in this case of the Orbán government here.
Zoltan Kovacs, thank you very much for joining us.